The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the transmission crackled to life. For 10 years, humanity had been nothing more than a ghost story whispered in the dark corners of civilized space. 10 years since Earth's fleet had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only burning colonies and unanswered questions. Lara stood at the observation deck of the Covenant station, her fingers pressed against the cold transparistelle window. Her reflection stared back at her older, now harder. The young communications officer who had watched Earth's ships disappear into the void was gone, replaced by someone who had learned to survive in a galaxy that had written off her species as extinct. Commander Lara, the station's AI announced. Unidentified vessels approaching from Sector 77 Alpha. Her heart skipped. Sector 77 Alpha, the direction Earth's fleet had taken a decade ago. How many? She asked, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Scanning. 12 capital ships, frigate-class vessels numbering in the hundreds. Commander, the energy signatures. They're human. Lara's breath caught in her throat. Around her, the skeleton crew of humans who had remained on the station rushed to their posts. They were the remnants, the forgotten ones who had been left behind when the fleet departed on its mysterious mission. Open a channel, Lara commanded. Static filled the air. Then a voice, rough, tired, but unmistakably human, cut through. Covenant Station, this is Admiral Ralphterson of the UNSC Retribution, requesting permission to dock. Ralph, Lara's mind reeled. Ralphterson had been a young captain when the fleet departed, eager and idealistic. Now he called himself Admiral. Permission granted, Admiral, Lara replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Welcome home. The docking bay was a flurry of activity as the human vessels began their approach. Lara watched from the command center as ship after ship materialized from the darkness. But these weren't the vessels that had left a decade ago. They were different, evolved. The hulls gleamed with an unfamiliar alloy that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The weapons arrays were unlike anything in the Galactic Council's arsenals, and the ships moved with a precision that suggested artificial intelligence, far beyond what humanity had possessed 10 years prior. When Ralph finally stepped off the boarding ramp, Lara barely recognized him. His uniform was unlike any she had seen, sleek, adaptive, embedded with technology that pulsed faintly with blue light. His eyes held the weight of experiences she couldn't begin to imagine. Lara, he said, a ghost of a smile touching his lips. You waited. Someone had to, she replied. Ralph, where have you been? The Council declared Earth lost. They claimed the Vrexian Horde had. The Vrexian Horde is no more, Ralph interrupted, his voice cold. Neither are the Krell Supremacy, the Thorian Empire, or any of the other species that thought humanity would be an easy target. Lara felt the blood drain from her face. Those were 3 of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. What are you saying? Ralph gestured to the viewport where Earth's fleet hung in formation, silent, deadly, patient. 10 years ago, we left because we knew the truth. The Galactic Council wasn't going to protect us. They were going to sacrifice us to buy time for themselves. So we left to do what humanity does best: adapt, evolve, and survive. He pulled up a holographic display, showing star systems Lara had never seen. We found the precursor technology in the Andromeda Rim, ancient, powerful, and abandoned by a civilization that thought themselves gods. We studied it, reverse-engineered it, and improved upon it. We built shipyards in the void between galaxies where no one would find us. We trained. We prepared. For what? Lara asked, though she dreaded the answer. For war, Ralph said simply. The Vrexians attacked our colony at New Terra 3 months after we left. They thought we were scattered, weak. They were wrong. We watched from the shadows as they celebrated their victory. Then we struck. The holographic display shifted, showing battle after battle. Human ships appearing from nowhere, weapons that tore through shields like paper, tactics that left enemy fleets in disarray. It was brutal, efficient, and terrifyingly effective. We didn't just defeat them, Ralph continued. We broke them. Every species that had plotted against us, every empire that had seen humanity as prey, we showed them what we truly are. Not victims, not refugees, survivors who refused to die quietly. Lara's hands trembled as she absorbed the implications. Ralph, the Council will see this as an act of aggression. They'll unite against us. Ralph's smile was devoid of warmth. Let them try. We've already received surrender offers from 17 council species. The others are too terrified to respond. Humanity spent 10 years being the galaxy's underdog. That time is over. He stepped closer to her, his voice softening slightly. We didn't return to conquer Lara. We returned to ensure that no one will ever threaten Earth again. The galaxy thought our silence meant death. They were wrong. Our silence meant evolution, as if to punctuate his words. More ships began emerging from faster-than-light travel around the station. Dozens became hundreds. Hundreds became thousands. The entire might of humanity's new fleet, revealed at last. Lara looked at the man before her and saw not just Ralph, but the symbol of what humanity had become. They had been pushed to the brink, written off as extinct, and had returned stronger than anyone could have imagined. What now? She asked. Ralph turned to the viewport, his reflection merging with the fleet beyond. Now we remind the galaxy of an old Earth saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. For 10 years, we were silent. Now they'll listen. The Galactic Council would convene the next day in emergency session. They would debate, argue, and ultimately realize a fundamental truth that humanity had known for millennia. The most dangerous thing in the universe isn't the monster that roars. It's the one that goes quiet, learns, and returns when you've forgotten to be afraid. Earth's fleet had been silent for 10 years. That silence had been a promise, not a surrender. And as the stars bore witness, humanity had just delivered on that promise with overwhelming force. The age of humanity, being the galaxy's victim, was over. A new era had begun, one where Earth's children would never again bow to those who sought their destruction.